What's going on, guys? Victor here with a brand new video. I'm going to talk about a new addition that was added to the Paris, France card, the first card that UFC is ever going to have in the country of France. Also, the first card they're ever going to have in the capital of France, which is Paris, the city of light. Everybody knows Paris is one of the most major cities in the whole entire world, and UFC is going to have a major and a humongous UFC Fight Night card in that city. And this new addition that was added is definitely going to add a lot of interest, a lot of intrigue when it comes to that fight card as well. I'm talking about Nassourdine Imavov, 11-3, 9 finishes in his career, 5 KOs, 4 submissions versus Joaquin Buckley, 15-4, 11 finishes, all by KO. This fight is going to be electric. I don't care what anyone says. It's going to be a great fight because both these individuals are great strikers. Both these individuals have a lot of power between them. And like I said, Nassourdine Imavov, 9 finishes. Joaquin Buckley, 11. That's 20 finishes all together between these two fighters. And this fight is definitely not going to go towards the distance. It's not going to go to the full 15 minutes that this fight is scheduled to be for, just because of these two guys that are known for finishing fights. Joaquin Buckley came into the UFC, and before he even came into the UFC, he had a good amount of history. He fought in Bellator, which is the second best well-known promotion in the MMA world, also in the United States as well. Came in and took a short notice fight against a hot red streaking Kevin Holland, who was, I believe, on a 3 or 4 fight win streak. Ended up getting knocked out in that fight, but came back and had a sensational knockout in Abu Dhabi against Imavov. And that fight only lasted 1 round. Actually, I believe the knockout happened in the 2nd round, but it was a highlight reel KO for the ages, one of the best ones at the UFC. Also, the MMA community's ever seen in the sport in general, and he's been able to reel off a couple fights ever since then. Nassourdine Imavov came into the UFC about a year and a half ago, or 2 at max. Ended up coming in, and he fought Jordan Williams. After that, he had a fight against Phil Hawes. Ended up losing that fight against Phil Hawes, but ever since then he's been able to rack off a couple wins. His most well-known win was against Edmund Shabazian. That was a first round TKO, and ever since then he's been on a red-hot streak. He's only lost to Phil Hawes in his UFC career, and both these individuals are coming towards a collision path, like I usually say. I love to use that term because both these guys are red-hot in the middleweight division, and both these guys are definitely trying to go for that title at the very top of the division. They're trying to fight Israel Adesanya, if he's still going to be there or not by the time they get up to that top 5, to the higher echelon of the competition, of the pedigree of fighters that are up there in that division, which is considered one of the most stacked in the whole entire world, and also one of the most stacked in the UFC promotion as well. But like I said earlier, Nassourdine Imavov came into the UFC about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and as we all know, he's from Paris, France. He wasn't always from Paris, France. He ended up immigrating to the country of France at the age of 10 from Dagestan, the region where Khabib and his whole entire family are from. And as we all know, that whole entire region is stacked with great wrestlers, also with some great boxers and strikers as well. And he puts it all on display. Even though we don't see that much wrestling from him, his striking is great. He likes to put on a lot of pressure. He likes to get a little dirty in there every once in a while, especially once it's up against the clinch against the fence. He likes to throw the elbows. He likes to put in some combinations as well. And if he does have you on the ground, he's definitely going to try to flatten you as much as possible, following it up by some dirty, nasty ground and pound, try to go for the finish for that fight. And like I said, he's really nasty with the elbows, and his striking is definitely something to be feared with. But Joaquin Buckley is not just a total stranger, you know. He's another individual that has a lot of power. Out of these two, I believe Joaquin Buckley has more power, and he definitely has more of a chance to be able to knock out Nassourdine Imavov, who's definitely known to take a good amount of damage. He took a good amount of damage versus Phil Hawes, and he was losing that fight for the majority of the time until he almost came up in the 3rd round and almost knocked out Phil Hawes, but time ran out and he wasn't able to get that W. When he fought Jordan Williams for his UFC debut in Abu Dhabi, he ended up taking a good amount of damage as well, but he ended up putting on a good amount of damage on Jordan Williams. So he's a fighter that is kind of like Vicente Luque, a human sponge. He takes a lot of damage just to give it back out. And in this fight, he won't be able to do that, because if he takes a good amount of damage from Joaquin Buckley, then the chances of him getting knocked out are pretty high. So if I'm him, I'm definitely going to try to take out Joaquin Buckley, who's still working on that takedown defense. And Joaquin Buckley has been known to slow down in fights as well, as I've seen from Nassourdine Imavov over in the past. During his last couple fights in the UFC, he doesn't slow down. He doesn't get too tired. He usually lasts the full 3 rounds. And if you do see him getting tired, it's towards the very end of the fight where he's trying to empty out the gas tank, trying to get the finish. So if he saves up as much gas as possible and tries to go for that finish, that would be nice. But you want to levy the gas. You want to levy the gas tank throughout those 3 rounds. You don't want to empty it in the first round or the second round, or save it all the way for the last second to try some Hail Mary in order to win the fight at the very last second when you're trailing from behind. You want to be able to save it all throughout the 3 rounds. You want to be able to basically cut that gas tank in a couple of halves. Use it wisely. Use it very smart. And if I'm Joaquin Buckley, I saw him fight in Austin, Texas just a couple weeks ago. He used his gas tank immediately. And, I mean, not immediately, but he used it extremely safe. He was very cautious with it. And he was able to use it very wisely. And as a result, he was able to get a TKO doctor stoppage at the end of the second round. So, just great performance from Joaquin Buckley during his last fight. Definitely fixed the issue with the gas tank. And he was able to pick his shots very wisely. And he was more patient. Obviously, when Joaquin Buckley got to the UFC, early on in his career, he was trying to look for the finish as fast as possible. And as a result, because of that, his gas tank was able to slip down. But since he's picking his shots more wisely, since he's using his movement more wisely as well, he's able to preserve more of his reserves in the gas tank in case it does get into that third and final round. It does need to get a finish if he's trailing from behind. And he was able to prove everybody wrong. His gas tank is getting better. His wrestling defense is getting better. If he does get taken down, he's getting better when it comes to getting right back up as well. But if Nassourdine Imavov gets him down to the ground, then it's definitely going to be hard for him to get back up. Just because Nassourdine Imavov is a complete mixed martial artist, so is Joaquin Buckley as well. And Joaquin Buckley is a very explosive individual, but if he does get Nassourdine Imavov to the ground, I don't see him keeping him down there for too much, which is why I believe this fight's going to stay standing on the ground for the majority of the time. And like I said, Joaquin Buckley's going to have to watch out for any type of takedown attempts whatsoever. And if I'm Nassourdine Imavov, I'm going to keep the movement no matter what. I'm going to try to make this into a really ugly fight. And also, if I'm Nassourdine Imavov, I'm going to try to land some leg kicks. But not just leg kicks. I'm going to try to land a knee straight up the pipe, straight up the middle, just as Alessio Di Chirico did against Joaquin Buckley when he fought against him about a year ago. He ended up hitting Joaquin Buckley with a straight knee, which knocked out Joaquin Buckley right off the bat. And that happened in Abu Dhabi when the UFC was having their fights on Fight Island. And that was when Joaquin Buckley was being promoted really well by the UFC after that huge knockout that he had against Impa Consagnai. And as a result of all that hype, of all that promotion, of all the commercials that he was having with him and all the clips and everything like that, I believe it got to him a little bit. He was trying to look for the finish really fast. He ate a knee and ended up getting knocked down in the process, but he's learned from his mistakes. He's reeled off 3 straight wins ever since, and now he's trying to get a 4th straight win against one of the toughest opponents that he's going to face in this UFC middleweight division for his chance to get into to that top 10 and also to that top 5 in the future as well. Nassourdine Imavov. Both these individuals need this type of quality, type of caliber matchup against one another in order to test themselves before getting into the higher echelon of the division. And the UFC did an amazing job making this fight. It's definitely going to be hard for Joaquin Buckley because he's going into enemy territory in Paris, France, which is where Nassourdine Imavov currently resides. Also, Nassourdine Imavov belongs to one of the most well-known gyms, MMA Factory in Paris, France. Head coach Fernand Lopez, who is also the ex-head coach of Francis Ngannou, the current head coach of Joaquin, who is the former interim UFC heavyweight champion of the world. So Fernando Lopez is a great coach. He's definitely going to come up with something huge against Joaquin Buckley, and Joaquin Buckley also belongs to a great gym, and that gym that he belongs to in Michigan as well. So I hope you guys enjoy the fight, because it's definitely going to be a good one. It's definitely going to be a eye-opener as well, because you might see a great finish, and don't blink, because if you do, the fight may be over. Appreciate you guys for watching this video. Who you guys think is going to win this fight? Nassourdine Imavov or my boy, I really do like Joaquin Buckley, but I really do like Nassourdine Imavov as well. One of the best fighters coming out of Paris, France right now, and definitely a huge prospect to keep your eyes on as well. But it's definitely a hard fight to call. I'm not going to make a prediction on this fight, but I really do hope you guys enjoyed. Who do you think is going to win? Nassourdine Imavov or Joaquin Buckley? It's definitely... This does have the potential to be a fight of the night fight, and also a close fight as well, depending if it isn't finished by the end of the 15 minutes. Appreciate you guys for watching this video. Stay safe, stay blessed, and take it easy, guys.